Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening weekend of the Spy Party Winter Cup. My name is Taboshi. I am joined once again by my good friend Warning Track.
It's cold here, but I'm glad to be inside.
It's cold here as well, don't worry. And together with Corvus Mallory, we are here to bring you more of that good competitive Spy Party action that we've all been missing.
Yeah, I was going to say the weather outside is frightful, but last I looked, everything outside is frightful, so there's nothing better you can be doing today than staying inside and watching Spy Party.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Now, for those of you who are unaware of the shenaniganry that is the Spy Party Winter Cup, we've got a very interesting match format to play with. Normally, you see people picking from a list of venues and banning from a list of venues. Not so this time around. People, rather than picking individual venues, will be picking from sets of 4 venues that they want to play, and then each will be banning one of their opponent's venues from that set.
Yeah, as you can tell from the name, the Winter Cup kind of comes from the Summer Cup, which Royal Flush has been running for, oh geez, well nigh a decade now, and it kind of takes some ideas from that. In the Summer Cup, you get these sets of venues like this, but Winter Cup tweaks it just a little bit, puts a little twist on it, and allows you to sort of augment those sets. So you still end up with 6 in the end, and both players get a bit of control, but not perfect control. So you still have to be good across a wide variety of venues if you want to make any progress in the Winter Cup.
Absolutely. So, best. So, sets are best of 12. We've got 2 of them for you today, starting out with OpiWrites versus hunu.
Yeah, OpiWrites, the organizer of the tournament, has made it pretty far in the past too, but first place has eluded them. Hunu actually made it to the knockout bracket in last year's Winter Cup, lost only to Lazy Bear in their group stage, and then knocked out by Kadi in the knockout bracket. So pretty good showing from both players and competitively in the past, but something's got to give today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a good one. And the draft, as you can see, OpiWrites picks up Back to the Classics, which is Library Court Veranda Ballroom. hunu picks up Small Ruin's Revenge, which is Gallery Tayan Redwoods Aquarium. Opie bans Aquarium, hunu bans Ballroom. You can see the results of that on your screen. Once again, it's going to be a best of 12 in, I think, whatever order they feel like playing it in.
Yeah, and I like that actually both bands are sort of Opie centric. Obviously, banning Opie's, he's been very vocal about loving Ballroom, about it being his favorite venue, and that is banned, of course. And then Opie, of course, bans Aquarium because he's still having PTSD flashbacks about some of his SCL games there, I'm sure.
I feel like that is going to be a thing that happens. So, without any further ado, we may as well get right on into this thing, opening, I believe, with OpiWrites on the spy and hunu on the sniper side at library. In three, two, one, playing it.
This is a rare venue where Opie will actually purloin more often than he'll bug, but that's because it's library. You need to do 5 missions, so he often has to do both.
This is true, and sometimes you just happen to get shot before the bug comes off. Opening things pretty standard, actually steps away from that flirt very quickly, but does still get the 34% off of it. Winds up in blue bookcase immediately afterwards.
Yeah, and obviously does not do microfilm
Ooh.
too often on this venue, but he's going to try it here.
Yeah, immediately goes in for the animation transfer, hits a green test on the first one at the blue bookcase. So that's blue microfilm in pocket. Bit of odd bouncing on the way out, but we are safely now in conversation with the seduction target for another flirt and another white test for 68%.
Yeah, and that first microfilm there was green, which certainly helps. Opie, one of the higher green action test rates in competitive these days, up around 60%. That's good for basically a top 5 finish when you're talking about SCL and probably any other random group you might care to form.
Yeah, it's a good thing he hit that green too, because that was very much on camera and could have gone very badly if he hadn't.
Yeah, if a white on camera on library, if the sniper's looking, that's pretty much it. You're just hoping they're looking somewhere else at any given point. But a green you can get away with if it's on screen, if they're not looking at you directly. It's not the kind of thing the sniper's necessarily going to see in their periphery.
So pretty slow going from OpiWrites right now, just hanging out waiting for the timer flirt, does get it, and immediately steps away, breaking animation, but not on screen, so it doesn't matter. Into the yellow bookcase we go, presumably, to try to get this microfilm put away.
Yeah, why not? The ambassador and Toby are on the other side of the venue,
Here we
and that's
go, it's
exactly
a
where Hunu's
white
looking.
test.
Yep.
Oh, he might have just barely caught the end of it, but it wasn't enough for him to actually be particularly suspicious about it. The microfilm goes back safely, and we're 2 missions down, and a time ad coming as well on the white test.
Hunu flicked back over after the microfilm was done, which made me think they were maybe trying to bait it or still trying to catch, which makes me think they didn't catch it. That's when you want to do that too. Two hardtails, Bug and Purloin, on the other side of the venue. That's really splitting the sniper's attention. And it makes the microfilm that much easier to get away with.
Yeah, timing on that from OpiWrites was very, very good. Little over 3 minutes left to play at this point, and we are currently sitting in an innocent conversation with not a whole lot going on. Although, the green test Purloin, right as I say it, steps away immediately, but it was on camera. So we'll see how well Huno's able to track this as we step into center statues.
If he hits enough
There's
enough
Purloin.
action tests here, he could go inspect swap.
Oh, yeah, it's a clank.
Trying to get Taft shot, it looks like, because Taft is on the other side of the venue, and from the spy camera, you can see that he was watching it. If this creates just enough doubt, he could try to finish very quickly after this. Yep.
Speaking of finish, there it is. It's the inspect into the swap. 5 seconds left. Is he going to get a good look at the statue? 2 seconds. He turns away. He's not going to see it. And OpiWrites picks up game number 1.
I think maybe the idea there is I want to inspect swap, but I don't want to have to get it all done in 3 cycles. And also, there's someone at the far end of the other side of the venue, also at statues. Maybe I can get Taft shot if it doesn't work. I think it might have been one move too many because we were so clean on those hardtails. I don't think we were suspected for the Purloin. We almost certainly weren't for the microfilm. Inspect contact probably works just as well there because there's over 2 minutes left on the clock. A little adventurous, maybe, but it still works. 1-0.
Yeah, that worked out just fine for Opie. It got spooky, but it worked out. Who knows time on the spy side to see how we can play this one in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It's Christmas. It's not supposed to be spooky. You guys are 2 holidays behind. Come on.
Starting with a drink in hand is Hunu, and lots of unfortunate bouncing. Wanted to pin down the seduction target, but wasn't able to make it happen. Winds up at the other end of the venue. So we'll see how Hunu plays this from here.
The thing you want to watch for in particular here with Hunu is that they have a very high swap rate on library.
Looks like it is going to wind up being the seduction off the top, but it's pretty bad positioning. So the suspected double agent steps away right at the oh no, it's a red test on the flirt. So this is not a great start from Hunu.
No, obviously, if you're going to red test a mission, Flirt's way up there with the ones you're okay doing it on. However, Hunu, generally a pretty solid AT rate, about 45% competitively, which is, a slightly above
I'm in the
average.
red.
Fake contact coming off, interestingly enough. Usually you don't see that in such a busy conversation, but there were, in fact, no SDAs in with Hunu, so it's going to work relatively well, although will not net him a low light as he may have wanted. To the yellow bookcase we go for 34% flirt.
You don't see it from Hunu much in particular on this venue. I have 23 library games of theirs in the database, and they've only done fakes in 3 of them.
Yeah, that is not a lot of fakes. Yellow book goes right back where we found it. I think that was all for that first flirt, and where OpiWrites had 2 missions done with just over 3 to play. Hunu just has that single flirt.
Yeah, having that second flirt right now would really change the complexion of this game, or any other mission progress for that matter. But it does look like between the fake and this idling in the far conversation, it looks like we are fishing for a low light a little bit.
Yeah, this is a little bit worrying. The bug attempt on the way through. I think we may have gotten rescued a bit by the pillar there on the tail end of that. But the green Purloin comes off as we get our second flirt up to 85%. And Toby steps well away from the area as well.
I think we're suspected here, and I think we're just getting a solid mission
Another
count.
fake contact to try to distract from the Purloin, but the Purloin doesn't actually come off. It's another reject.
Well, you'll take that too. Even though that's not maybe what you planned when you did that fake, you'll absolutely take Toby bouncing around the venue, extending the amount of time going into this purloin. But I think we're being watched very, very closely.
And
And so is
Toby,
the list.
all the way at the other end of the venue, gets a good look at the fade. I think it may be down to 2.
Yep. I think we're suspected for that bug, even though it didn't take. And so we were being watched very closely when we rejected. And now this is way narrowed down.
There's the flirt done, but I don't think there's any way we're gonna get another 3 missions by OpiWrites here, especially not in a minute and 40 seconds.
It's not just that it's narrowed down either. It's that one of the lowlights is the person who took the drink, which means we're confident it was not a white fade. That is actually the single biggest thing here that you can do is rule out the actual drink taker. That dramatically reduces the likelihood of a sieve shot.
That it does indeed. Minute and 20 seconds left on the clock after a little bit of briefcase maneuvering.
Banana bread.
There's so many contacts going off. That's the 3rd one of the game.
Both
Knows
suspects,
at least
though.
it's the general that he has to be trying to frame, I think.
And that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to try to frame them. Opie was watching the general very closely at the statue. They did oblige by going to center statue here. And no, if we don't swap immediately, this isn't going to work.
No, he had to swap already. Oh, the general's back in.
Doesn't matter.
No, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I thought maybe
There was a chance
could
there.
have gotten to, yeah, I thought, but didn't wind up happening. And that puts OpiWrites up by 2 to start things off. Redwoods is our next destination. It's going to be Opie on the spy once more. Hunu on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Before we get too far into this game, though, I do want to point out that the general did everything that Hunu could possibly have wanted there to get themselves framed. They went to center statues afterwards, and then they came back near the swap while it was happening.
Coming across the center, right out at the windows, a beautiful little wrong arm on the way through. Looks nice and inconspicuous, especially with trees in the way. The green test on the flirt, afterwards, and it's looking good so far.
Hang on, we need to restart the Redwoods game. There's a little bit of a delay there on the host side.
Okay.
I actually had a similar issue myself because Redwoods in particular can take a very long time to load relative to other venues.
Fair enough.
Ready when you guys are. I have a weird feeling there might be a rush bug from Opie, although the funny thing is, I swear, I definitely could have said that even if I didn't literally know it was coming.
It's not really a rush. It's a pretty nice setup. Let's have another look at it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
But yeah, that library game general did everything necessary, even acted like a spy at the end. If we swap immediately, I don't know if Opie takes the right shot. Tough call.
Look at this.
Wow. There's nothing.
Right?
There's nothing from the sniper side except the path, the character, and the person you're playing who's known for that sort of thing.
It's such a pretty bug. I love it so much. And the 51% on the flirt afterwards. This is a great, great start for OpiWrites.
Yeah, very solid, very solid. And look, even if you know Opie's probably going to bug on Redwoods, getting it out of the way early so that the sniper spends the rest of the game monitoring the ambassador, which they are, by the way, if you look at it from the sniper side. Hunu is keeping that ambassador on screen a lot. This really frees them up, and the sniper is going to be expending so much attention on a mission that's already done.
Little bit of slow going for OpiWrites afterwards, but with 51% on the flirt and a chance to timer flirt, you may as well just take it, right? There's the timer ticking down. There's the 2 flirt as well. It could not be going better for Opie right now.
Yeah, when you green that first flirt and your ST doesn't move, it's very tempting to take that 45 seconds, try to finish it in one go because you don't know when it's going to line up this nicely again, and you get credit for idling. And when you have the bug 2 already and you feel confident it's clean, all the more reason to hang around a little bit.
Drop in at the fireplace real quick to warm up a little bit on this cold winter's day, and into the conversation we go with the ambassador, although not in range to try anything, which is good because he's already got the bug done.
Well, if they're Redwoods, they're probably in California, so those big jerks have a much nicer climate than you or I are used to. I'm in Pittsburgh, you're in Canada, so I think we both hate them.
Fair enough. I'm pretty sure that's why they're hosting the party here right now.
Yeah, no, this is a year-round venue.
So, white test on a contact, but didn't wind up happening because the only person in with us was the ambassador and he bailed. So the briefcase is going to be the next stop for one fingerprint. Right back down it goes and out to the window to add a little bit of time, I believe.
Yeah, this is a great venue to cheese that briefcase. You also do see it on tan sometimes around the back. If you just pick it up, get the fingerprint, and immediately put it back down, there's a really good chance that you're just not even going to be noticed. They have to be watching the entire process to be confident that that's what you did.
So no time ad, 1 minute to play, 2 missions to get. We have one fingerprint in the pocket, but what is that other mission going to be? It's unclear at the moment as we have no progress on inspects. We don't have any microfilm business. We are going to Red Bookcase for a couple of inspects here.
And that probably settles it. If we're getting any inspects at all, particularly 2 by going to a bookshelf, we're probably doing inspect fingerprint.
It's the print on the book, at least.
We're running low on time, though. Are we really going to
There's
dump
the
this book late?
time ad. It's green, but we're already in the beep beeps. This could be bad.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Opie was really, I think, running away with this game for a little while, but that time ad might have narrowed it down. I've seen no indication from Hunu, though. There are no lowlights being taken yet.
No, never mind. The shot comes off. It's not the correct one. And after a harrowing second half of that game from OpiWrites, winds up working out anyways as Hunu gets the bead on the wrong partygoer.
Yeah, very rough. And, geez, that's just going to be another win for Opie.
Certainly not the start Hunu was looking for. 3-0 is the current scoreline. We'll see if Hunu can start clawing this back from the spy side of Redwoods in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
There are worse places to try to score a spy win to get back into the match, at least.
That is absolutely true. Starting things out with the flirt at Windows, a green flirt for 49% as well. It's perfectly spaced. You love to see it.
You love to see it because now a close green can still get that done in 2.
Not a lot of extra room to work with, but it is still doable. 3 minutes on the clock. It's a strong start from Hunu. Let's see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, strong indeed, but that seduction target's off at statues, so we're just going to hang out here instead.
Yeah, it's not going to be a quick second flirt unless the seduction target has something particularly kind to say about it, but it does not wind up being the case, and Hunu is just going to spend a little longer hanging out, chatting some people up, and watching the party for an opening.
Interesting highlight there onto the seduction target. They've been to 2 statues, but I think the first one was a side statue. It wasn't a bookshelf, which means they're not actually done with inspects. If that's the case, then we've been highlight for inspects, which is what Opie normally does, highlights for inspect completes. We might have been highlight mistakenly for that. I'm not sure. Might be 2 visits in this case. It might be a little less mentally taxing to say, I'm going to highlight anyone who goes to 2 different sets, even if they could actually be done because they went to 2 individual statues. If you don't go to one of those bookshelves, then it's a 3-visit inspect on Redwoods. It's a very weird little quirk about this venue.
Ambassador dropped in to say hi, and it was absolutely a good moment to take the bug, but no bug wound up happening. The swap out front, just straight up, very bold, picks up the 1 inspect as well. 2 cycles the statue, unapologetic.
Yeah, but look at this. It's narrowed down again. We've narrowed it down to just the statue visitors, I think, in this case, and it is correct. And it's just like the purloin. It's way narrowed down after 1 hardtail, and it's not a hardtail near the end of mission progress either. So now you need help again.
Yeah, it's not looking good. There's the second flirt coming off up to 83% after missing the green test, but the real story is, how do?
How do? That's right. How do you do? How do you finish? How to
Under
Redwoods,
a minute to
Tobo.
play as well.
How do you Redwoods, Tobo? I don't know.
I don't know either. This venue is scary. 45 seconds to play. We've got the fake contact having come off. Oh, we had safety off on Hunu for a second there. This is just, I just don't see a way through for Hunu unless some of the AI here are just very kind.
We might get shot for
There's
this
the
talk
flirt getting
even.
finished up, but
Ambo walks by us. That might prompt a shot all by itself, just in case. Just in case.
yep,
Yep.
and indeed it does. The shot comes off, and Opie picks up a 4th in a row.
If I recall right, the actual swap fade was on screen. It would be very, very common for the fade to be visible in Redwoods, but for the sniper not to be looking there for obvious reasons. However, in this case, I think if you're pretty sure it's them, you're really waiting for any excuse, right? As long as you have control, as long as you have a good shot. But it's Redwoods too, which means lining up a good shot can be a little tricky. So you see a talk, you've heard a contact, you're pretty sure it's fake, but maybe you're not 100% sure. The ambo kind of walks by you in general. Maybe something like that's happening. At that point, it's like the first conceivable second maybe they could be done. That's when you stop getting cute and you just take the shot.
So 4-0 OpiWrites is the current scoreline. Mind you, even if Opie wins the set outright, which is far from a guarantee right now, we still play out the rest of the games. We're still playing all 12 no matter what happens, because those games are going to be important for tie breaks and the like. Veranda is our next destination with Opie on the spy, Hunu on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Woo, that was a weird little path through the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, but we're just really, really intent on getting that first flirt in.
And we are able to do that pretty cleanly at the blue bookcase for 51%. Green test on the microfilm transfer as well, so that's blue microfilm in pocket, and we're away very quickly.
It's almost exactly like the library one. The guest list and the ambassador were the other side of the venue, the left side, and we were on the far right, and once again, that covers for the microfilm.
Oh, there's a bug with the person in between. Opie absolutely takes it. The suspected double agent giving us a huge favor there, and that is a bug that's almost impossible to catch.
And those are the two missions Opie does the most on Veranda. It's Seduce and Bug. Bug 63% of the time. Seduce almost 91%. That is a crazy, crazy high rate for any mission on any venue.
Into the green bookcase we go, looking for a chance to finish up this microfilm transfer. Just going straight in for it. It's a white test. Don't know how visible it was, but the book is back, and no shots have come off, so that seems pretty clean. And in for the next flirt, but he can't hit yet another green test, as awesome as that would be. 85% is where the flirt stands at the moment, with 2 other mission completions, both hard tells. This is a great situation for OpiWrites.
That microfilm was not terribly visible. One, because you had some people in that conversation blocking us, and again, because we blend in with that shelf pretty darn well.
Not able to get the timer flirt as the seduction target steps away, but plenty of time still to work with. Still over 2 minutes to play, with 1 flirt and 2 other missions to get, with the contact still on the table, the statue still on the table, the purloin still on the table. Not able to get the flirt done at the windows here, although we did have a go at it.
Let's say statue still on the pedestal, purloin still on the tray. And by the way, I do think it's more likely to be a purloin than inspects in this case. I think a third hardtail is actually more likely than inspects. Opie likes to avoid them when he can.
There's the flirt finally getting finished up. It took a couple of extra tries. Minute and 25 left to play, 2 missions to get.
And we did get a highlight there at Windows for finishing up the
Banana
flirt
bread.
potentially. That's really interesting. This is a very interesting fake here as well.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting fake. Contact in only with the seduction target. So
Oh,
trying
there's the
to
purloin.
shed a little bit of
There it is.
tried to shed a little bit of suspicion with the fake, but then takes the purloin, and Hunu is still on top of it and gets himself on the board.
Third time's the charm. 3 hardtails is maybe just 1 too many. I don't know if a green gets it done there because I do think Hunu was pretty suspicious about that little flirt chase. Opie has had their foot on the gas this whole time, and I do think that's the right posture against someone you're favored with on paper, someone who maybe you're not sure how to approach. You just throw a lot at them and keep doing it until they catch you. And well, Hunu finally caught him.
Yeah, so OpiWrites is probably going to have to slow down at least a little bit on his future spy games, but for now, it's Hunu who's in those shoes on Veranda in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Hunu's actually played a fair bit of Veranda. That's relatively speaking, mind you. It's one of the least popular venues in most competitive events, but Hunu's played over a dozen games here in SCL, for example. So more comfortable than most, at least.
That is very true. Some slightly awkward bouncing on the way through, but it's Time of Chaos. That stuff's probably not going to get caught. Into the statues we go next to our seduction target at the top of the game, and 51% off the first flirt.
Much like with
Ooh,
Library.
animation cut though.
Well, we're blocked by royalty there a little bit, so maybe it's not too bad.
That is true. So, out to a solo conversation for a moment before someone joins in and the talking begins. Is this going to be a purloin? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it can be really tempting sometimes when you're in the far left there. If there's enough activity on the right side, it can be surprisingly easy to forget about it for a little while, especially because from that angle, people bunch together and it can be very difficult to tell who was rejecting a given drink. But Opie was rotating just as the tray came down, so wise not to take the opportunity.
This is a slow game coming out from Hunu, though. 2 minutes and 45, and we have only that opening little bit of progress with the flirt and the one inspect. Nothing else has really gone on.
These are the games Opie cares about right now. You know, you can throw a lot against the wall on the spy side, and you've already gotten a couple wins there. So really, you just care about winning sniper games, not just sniper games, but sniper games on venues like Veranda where you're normally supposed to win.
Well, picking up a print from the red bookcase. Might be able to get a second one off the breeze right away if he's feeling particularly cheeky, but he is not. So
Banana
it's
bread.
the contact where we go next with 2 minutes to play. And it's a pretty dang good contact, too.
Yeah, but we picked up a highlight right after that fingerprint, too. That's really, really rough. Relative to our mission progress, I don't think we're going to be able to finish fingerprint without inducing a lot of suspicion.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Into conversation with the seduction target, we go once more with 1 minute and 35 left on the clock. The time is ticking, but getting that second green flirt to finish the mission in 2 will certainly help.
Yeah, I think we're in decent trouble here, actually. Even though we've got pretty good progress, look at this. We're an inspect and a fingerprint away from getting to 4. And when you get to 4 without being a huge suspect, that 5th mission can become a lot easier on Veranda. But the problem is I think we are a big suspect, so it won't be easy.
Back into the red bookcase. I think there might be a difficult print here still. There was indeed, but he can't hit it, unfortunately. That could have been a game changer. But that's one out that Hunu no longer has.
Yeah, but Opie might have to credit it. So the real question is, do they know there was even a difficult there? If they do, I think any trip to statues probably induces a shot.
That difficult was there since the last time Hunu was at
Ooh.
that bookcase.
Good attempt. Definitely worth trying. Definitely possible you're going to get away with it. But even if you had, you'd be under the gun. And the fact that you haven't means you're in big trouble. And now you're into the beep beeps, and you pretty much have to time ad.
That's not a good path. I think we might just get shot for that one.
Oh.
But into the statues we go.
Oh, no. Inspect swap isn't going to do it. You need to inspect swap fingerprint to have any chance here. You're just going to try to frame someone, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, there was nothing left to play for at that point.
You hit that fingerprint, maybe it's a little different, but I still think we probably die. Look at how quick that shot is. Look how we were clearly watching for it. Some of the pathing. I think that highlight after the first fingerprint was probably the turning point. That's when you're on Opie's radar, and that's when he gets hard to shake.
Absolutely. 5-1 is the current scoreline. Opie has fumbled once in the previous game, but is still absolutely on the warpath, is not slowing down. Might be slowing down a little bit coming into this next spy game. It's time to find out what happens on the gallery with Opie on the spy and Hunu on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Find out. When you say find out, you mean at what point in the game will he bug?
Yes.
Opie does not play gallery very competitively very often, actually. That's an immediate green purloin, by the way.
Oh my, yes it is. And a green flirt to come off the tail end of it. Into the statues we go. There's the take from an SDA.
Fade is covered by multiple people's heads.
Yeah, that's a huge start from OpiWrites. I don't know if he was able to get a look at the tray. It was on screen for a while. It's on screen again now.
Are we going to get low lights? Are we going to get low lights? No, will it be statue visitors who get low lit? Not yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it going to be a rush?
Not
just going to be a rush.
low lights. This is absolutely going OpiWrites' direction. He did not slow down at all, as it turns out. In fact, he may have even sped up a little bit. There's the statues done. We've got the purloin done. We've got half of the seduce done. We're in conversation with the double agent. Now the contact's done. Now the game is done because hunu is on top of things.
Who knew? Absolutely, and they know their opponent's tendencies. They know Opie likes to rush, talks about it very publicly. Maybe you should not do that so much, Opie, by the way. That was a really good spy game. It was a really strong purloin, and I really thought they were going to get away with it there. But, like we said, kept their foot on the gas, and Hunu has started to pick up on it a little bit, not getting away with the pure aggression anymore. Hunu is now operating at the same speed as the spy.
Yeah, I thought that game was all but over once all the chips started falling, but Hunu... Man, you cannot count this guy out on Sniper.
No, you absolutely can't. I like, by the way, that we were contacting the other twin as the double agent. Kind of like, we don't talk enough. We should keep in touch more often. How you liking the jewelry? Is it working for you?
Anyway. OpiWrites now stepping into the Sniper side. Hunu on the spy, where he has not had a lot of success. Let's see if he can turn it around here in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, it's a great shot from Hunu, but the problem is you're already through 2 sniper games. Through might be a little bit of a strong word, but lost, let's say, at least. You're going to need a spy win in here at some point, even if you've started to get a real strong bead on Opie's aggressive spy.
Yeah. Hunu stepping outside to start things off in conversation with both the seduction target and the double agent. Waiting a little bit before that first talk, but it is a green flirt for 51%. A few people step away, but the double agent is still there.
Yeah, how about we take this outside as something you normally say to your enemies, not your quote-unquote friends, like seduction targets, but it works here too, doesn't it?
It certainly seems to be. Just waiting for things to settle in the back a little bit before we take this contact, it looks like, but the conversations aren't filling up too readily.
You know what makes me particularly mad about Gallery? Not only is this artwork very, very abstract, but there's 3 blue paintings in a row on the left.
They're not even a set.
They're not, I guess. They're not even, it's like a triptych. They're not even spread out.
There's the contact coming off. A couple people step away at the last second. That's 4, that's 5, 6, 7, 8 lowlights. Good grief.
That's about twice what you're going to expect in a normal Gallery game, and we get highlights for real contact out front. That is essentially a perfect response to the contact.
God, that
very powerful.
That was a bad contact and a perfect response.
But there were a reasonable number of people out there. Obviously, giving up the lowlights isn't great, but on Gallery, you do get that sometimes. If the other contact has an SDA, it's not that bad, though. The fact that you get both those things combined is what really hurts. And this has been the story of the match. Hunu playing pretty decent spy games, but for some reason, even well before they're close to mission win countdown, they're already a huge suspect.
Yeah.
Banana bread.
Fake contact from the back in with the suspected double agent this time, unfortunately.
Yep, and that's going to knock out several more And they're all getting bumped back down now to normal because, yeah, look at this. We've just, the overlapping Venn diagrams of the contacts have produced a very, very small suspect pool, and only one person in that pool is going to statues and swapping now.
Yeah, it's down to 6. And now it's down to a dead hunu.
Yeah, if you're aiming for the spy, you hit him dead on. If you're aiming for that rose, a little left of center, but I don't think you're going to be picky. Either way, it's another win because, again, the sniper was onto us with moderate marginal mission progress.
All right. OpiWrites. Match point has 4 of them to play with. Again, we are going to play all the games no matter what winds up happening with the rest of them, but OpiWrites is looking to be in a very good position here, points-wise. One more will do it. Let's see if we can get it on the spy side of Courtyard in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I don't see any reason for Opie to let up now. Even though Hunu's been sniping really, really well, you might as well. You might as well keep going because you have all those sniper games to play with still.
Absolutely. OpiWrites starts things off in conversation with the seduction target, picks up a green test, not quite close enough. It's 48%, but to be fair, he couldn't really get a lot closer.
No, you really couldn't, and you probably don't want to. I think as much as you like bug, if you don't get a really good bug opportunity, you just wait for a reject chain with a statue visitor, try to hit a green, which you probably will because you're hitting them about 60% of the time, and just force Hunu into essentially a coin flip for the match. That's what you can do at this point, knowing that you have 2 sniper games to lean on and another spy game.
Yeah, OpiWrites is in a pretty good position here. Not able to hit the
Not
difficult
anymore.
print off of the drink, which is unfortunate, but
Well, and we got highlight for the attempt too, so suddenly we're in very bad shape, I would say.
this is
Banana
a very
bread.
good point. There's the contact coming off. The flirt to finish it up as well, so that's 80% there.
Yeah, Opie, starting with the difficult print, and we talk about this a lot. If the first print is difficult, you can attempt it, see if you hit it, and make plans from there. If you don't hit it, maybe you give up on fingerprint entirely. If you do, you assume you got away with it, which we know is not the case, by the way. We've been credited for a print we didn't get. But if you're going to take a difficult at all, taking it first allows you to plan things out a little bit better. The clocks, by the way, are back in sync.
Yeah, this is a very interesting situation. OpiWrites finally deciding to play a slow game, and it is not working out so far.
No, but it only has to work out at the very, very end when Hunu says, this guy has been rushing and finishing every single game. I might shoot someone who's visiting statues or contacting late just because I assume I missed a bug or something like that. This is the kind of situation where all that aggression can pay dividends late in a match.
That is true. In conversation with seduction target and picks up an very unnecessary green test to finish it up. So that's 2 missions complete, minute and 40 left to play. Has not been to statues as of yet.
No, not at all. And 2 soft tails done, about 100 seconds left on the clock. This is looking very, very familiar for you and I, who have cast so many Courtyard games that have looked exactly like this.
Absolutely.
There's the purloin.
There's the purloin. That's oftentimes not a good sign. But
Another
we
reject.
are getting rejects.
But we're not getting statue visitors, so we might get a held shot even when this comes off.
He requested again. He's gonna take it. He's gonna do the purloin shenaniganry.
And it's another print, though, so we're going to be suspected for the print as well.
So, okay, so we got the print.
He's on him. He's on him. Look at this.
He's about to shoot for the print. Yep, that's another print. There's the shot. Doesn't even have to see the purloin comes off. Hunu is on top of the prints.
That's a pretty solid spy game, all things considered. But just like the gallery game, it's another great spy game, countered by an even better sniper game. Hunu has absolutely caught up to that early spy speed. The problem is it too late?
Yeah, he seems to have figured out OpiWrites' spy. The problem is, he still hasn't been able to get anything past Opie's sniper, and he's only got one more shot at this if he wants to force a draw out of this match. Let's see if he can get it done in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
You got to wonder if with that print, part of the idea too was who would actually go for 3 prints here, but it doesn't matter. Hunu's just on it. He's looking for those early print attempts, just knows what to expect. And again, if he hadn't lost those 2 sniper games early, this would be a very, very interesting situation. But instead, he's still fighting for his life.
Probably knew the first one was difficult.
Yeah, I suppose so.
In conversation with the double agent to open the game, it looked like the seduction target was in there too, but no, that's just a briefcase.
And Hunu doesn't like the briefcase much on Courtyard, does not usually go for it at all.
Double agent steps away, so this first conversation has been a bit of a bust for Hunu.
They are, however, amenable to statue prints
Banana
if the
bread.
ambassador leaves any of those.
Fake contact coming off. Unfortunately, the SDA was like one of the only people out of conversation.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And this is a lot of fakes from Hunu. On venues, they don't normally do it. Hunu does not do a lot of fake contacts in general, but I think seeing themselves as a significant underdog here against Opie, one of the tournament favorites, has led them to try to mix it up a little bit.
In conversation with the seduction target now, was also there with the double agent, but the double agent left. So it's 34% on the flirt. And that is our first bit of mission progress with under 2 minutes to play.
Yeah, that's pretty rough, and I think we might be a bit of a suspect for this conversation positioning too. But either way, I don't think we're going to induce a civ shot here, unless an AI does something pretty wacky.
We're gonna have to get into the statues at some point as well. This is not looking great as far as the start is concerned for Hunu. There are lots of prints around. But Hunu doesn't seem to want to give himself that kind of suspicion, although the time is starting to become a problem. So a green time ad was very much in order, and into the statues we go.
Wow, yeah, we absolutely needed that too. We had basically no progress.
Hits the difficult print though, so that could be pretty massive.
Yeah, but we still have so little progress overall.
Well, here's the statues done. We still need a couple of flirts, but we've got time for that with the time ad. We still need the contact, but we're in with the double agent. This could happen pretty quickly. There's the green flirt up to 85%, so that's not going to take much longer.
Uh-oh. Look at that flash.
Indeed.
Banana bread.
There's the contact coming off. Still a little over a minute to play. Just needs the one flirt now. After getting the last print off of the drink, oh, how quickly the fortunes flip. Another flash.
Wow, we're so close now. Look at this, and still plenty of time to finish. Oh boy.
Seduction target into statues. I think Hunu's going to try to wait for a different position. 40 seconds left to play. You're going to have to go for the flirt on wherever the seduction target goes next, I think, unless you want to leave this wait until the end. There she goes.
Oh, it would be a shame to lose this way after this incredible
It is
comeback.
a conversation, and it is a conversation with people in it. So this should be good.
Can we get shot for a talk here? There'll be no overtime if we talk within 5 or 6 seconds. We don't even wait
Staying a
two.
long way away. I don't think it's going to be a shot.
Wow.
I think Hunu has finally found a way through on the spy side. And indeed they have. 4-6 is the current scoreline. And Hunu slowly finding a way back into this match.
There were 80 seconds left in this game, and all that was done was a third of the flirt. Hunu goes for the time ad and then just makes steady Softail progress the whole way out. 2 difficult fingerprints. It's a Softail finish at the end of the game when they needed it most. Wow, what a win.
Yeah, that was a big swing after that time ad. I really liked that game out of Hunu. There was just nothing for OpiWrites to grab onto early in the game, and by the time he was grabbing stuff, he was grabbing the wrong stuff.
By the time he was trying to grab, it was slipping through his fingers. Yeah. Look, we've said before a lot that against a good sniper, an action test, if you have a decent rate for the win, is normally a good deal. I don't know if 2 action tests for the win with the 2 difficult fingerprints are great odds. But if you hit him, it doesn't matter. And sometimes you hit him, and Hunu finally gets one there. Again, now you think if you'd given up just one fewer of those sniper games, think of the situation you'd be in. You'd be deadlocked right now instead of down 2.
Absolutely. So, Hunu on the sniper side has been doing pretty good a job against Opie Spy lately, but Taeyen is a bit of a different beast. Let's see if Opie can put this game away or if Hunu can force it to a one last game to try to get the draw out of this in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Early flirt, 51%, immediately steps away. Yep, this is OpiWrites.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're on repeat over there. You probably said that 4 times already, huh?
Not super quick after that, though. Just sort of steps away into another conversation. Double Agent joins in, though, so we might be able to get a contact here if people start to settle.
Banana
It's
bread.
not a fantastic time for it. A couple of lowlights come off, but that is, in fact, the contact done. Two lowlights is not bad, though.
No, it's not. That's basically the over-under. That's about as many as Opie's probably going to tolerate there when it's not used to distract from something or to finish.
Seduction target is absolutely available, and Opie now is going to step over for the second flirt, and possibly the last flirt if he can hit another green here.
When you say available, you mean they're not seeing anyone.
Well, they're seeing us now, as the flirt is now successful.
Yeah, they only have eyes for us now.
2 minutes left to play. Opie writes, looking pretty darn good time-wise, but isn't he always?
Yeah, well, steady progress. That's what it gets you. You lose a lot of different ways, but because you ran out of time, it's just not one of them. You take your spy shots instead.
Ooh, safety off on Hair for a moment there, and the shot off of Opie for the bug. Hunu has brought it back to 5-6.
Opie
Has one spy game on Taeyen to find the draw in the set.
Jeez, just cannot help himself with the bug. It's out front, and the fact that it's so obvious, of course, you have to say, anytime someone does something really obvious, that's kind of its own justification, because you can assume maybe that they're not going to be looking for it, so you kind of want to defend it automatically. The worst seeming decisions automatically have a built-in defense because they're so counterintuitive. But in this case, just Hunu knows. Hunu's been catching him on way subtler things than that, is all over the Twitch bug, and you're right, 3 in a row. Could this actually happen?
It very well could. It's one game separating them now with just the one left to play. Opie writes for the win, Hunu for the draw. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Opie's sniper is quite good. However, on Taeyen, because it's Taeyen, and you play against a pretty good spies up there in Platinum and SCL, for example, wins about half the time. So this is a real risk here of throwing this win away.
Anything could happen on a venue like this. Into the conversation we go with Seduction Target and Double Agent both. Positioning is good, but it's only 34 on the first flirt, and the Double Agent doesn't hang around.
Yeah, venue like this. Of all the pagodas in all the world, Tobo, the spy had to walk into this one.
Hunu is a very, very different spy from Opie. He's just going to take it slow and wait for the opportunities to present themselves. Right now, he's working on a timer flirt.
Yeah, and look, it worked last time, finishing so late in that courtyard game, but we're a little fortunate it did. We hit some key action tests. We were probably still a big suspect. And remember, we had a time ad, too. A little harder to get away with here than maybe on courtyard.
Well, there's the cooldown expires. There's the second flirt. Another white test brings us to 68%. But as long as we are close on the last flirt, that's still going to be enough. 2 minutes and 5 left on the clock. No mission completions as of yet, but this is Tayen. We've got time to work with.
Oh yeah, it's way easier to accomplish a lot of missions late in a game on Tayen than Courtyard even. The mission density is very high.
Hunu has not moved.
Well, again, might be a low light fishing kind of thing, or just general, general just preoccupation with that sniper. When you're up against a good sniper, sometimes you just don't want to move because they're going to get you. Here's the problem, though. You haven't gotten any lowlights out of idling like this at any point in this match.
Well, there's the flirt done, but
Banana
with
bread.
a minute and 30 left to play, another fake contact. It was a pretty good one. Lots and lots of people in conversations, but it's not getting you any closer to the win.
Now, I've got 15 games from Hunu and Tayan, and they only faked in one of those. These are fakes from Hunu on venues they almost never fake, and I have to imagine the strength of the sniper has something to do with it.
Finally steps away into conversation with the actual double agent this time, but conversations are starting to thin out a little bit.
Yeah, and so is the suspect pool. Look at these lowlights that are coming through. There's 3 lowlights now so far. And that's really significant on the new smaller guest count Tayan. I think Hunu's saying this is the kind of venue where Civ can get shot. I really want a
Banana
Civ to just
bread.
get shot, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to rush something late. And if they do that, I think Opie's going to get him.
Well, there's the contact. Still have that blue book in hand. 30 seconds to play, 2 missions to get. Dropping this book at green isn't going to be too difficult, but we're not in position for a bug here. We haven't found a bug this game.
No, on Tayan of all things, it's going to be really hard to get away with it late.
It's briefcase. That was a mistake.
And there's no
It's
print on
under
it.
10 seconds.
Yep.
I don't think we have time. I think
We put that book in way too quick.
Been the nail in the coffin. The shot comes off, and OpiWrites makes it happen against Hunu at the last possible second.
The last possible second. Put that book in way too quick. Just not enough vying for our attention. There were some interesting opportunities here or there. Geez. I just think you just can't do it twice is the
Yeah.
problem. You can't have 2 games like that. It's just really hard to get it to work even once, let alone twice. Wow.
And that's gonna do it. That's OpiWrites having won. Why do I have so much trouble saying the word "one"? It's the easiest word in the English language.
Well, maybe it's something to do with saying OpiWrites first. Maybe it's one of those things where the position of the tongue makes the next word harder to say, something like that. But yeah, no, that's a really good win from OpiWrites, and it's actually a really good comeback from Hunu. That could have been absolutely disastrous from Opie's perspective if they'd actually blown that 6-2 lead. And now you're just thinking, wow, again, if Hunu just hangs on to one more of those early sniper games, they walk away from this with something to show for it.